Libanaise, Institut des Beaux-Arts in Beirut in 2011. She was an active member in the campaign to reopen and reactivate several public spaces in Beirut, especially Beirut Pine Park. She participated in writing a booklet for modernizing Lebanon that was submitted to the Lebanese parliament. In 2011, she was one of the 14 Lebanese students selected for a Fulbright scholarship and is currently in her third term of the March program at the University of Oregon in Portland. Please help me welcome Grace.
We've been told architecture is a universal language. Let me tell you why it's not. My name is Grace Aaraj. I'm Lebanese and I'm a Fulbright student. I speak 4 languages and architecture is my 5th. I studied at the University of Oregon in the program here in Portland. Every language has words. Let's just compare a few of them for fun. Let's pick a place, let's say Portland for the US, and compare some of the words to Beirut where I come from. That's breakfast. We see here a big major difference between ingredients. Now that I made you all hungry, let's move to football, where we have another difference with words, this time with rule and context. Road trips. It takes 2 hours to drive from Portland to Eugene. The same 2 hours trip will take you from the capital, Beirut, to any of the villages on the border of Lebanon, south or north. Another difference can be in magnitude, like river. Rivers in the US are big and wide, they divide cities. In Lebanon, rivers are smaller, they could almost be called creeks. And finally, history. Something that's built in 1793 in the US and considered history, like the US Capitol. And on the other side, we have the Heliopolis, or the Roman Temple of the Sun, which was built 50 BC in Lebanon, and it's now currently known as Baalbek, and is also historic. So, if there is semantic difference, almost confusion about meanings and expectations, like size, color, concept, format, and definitions that are different, due to an individual context, experience, and frame of reference. This is why I asked myself several times before coming to the US, will I understand and will I be understood? If meanings are lost in translation and architecture is a language, what meanings are we losing in architecture? Could the answer be in a global design for building cities and buildings? Could the answer be in a more traditional approach, or is it something in between? This is a project I did in my last year in Beirut at school. The aim was to create a nice building, a commercial space that attracts a lot of visitors and also create a place for social exchange. The site has an old traditional Lebanese house, although not with a big historic significance, but it was still of some importance to the site. So I decided to answer programmatically to the project needs and keep that small house and frame my whole building around it. Showing in that case that even if I keep a small house as a small hint, showing that architecture can have a mix of both, and borrowing some successful features from abroad. In that case, this is a Lebanese project, and I'm adapting some successful originally Western features to a more historically complex site and society. This is the house. 2 years ago, I was 21 years old, and this is the cover of my portfolio that read Grace Aaraj, and I used my initial GA to write Green Architect. Now, I consider this to be silly, and this has changed a lot since then. One of the first few things University of Oregon teaches me is even though sustainability is important, it is an overused word. I learned also that design for now and tomorrow, what really matters is responsibility and design ingenuity. When these skills are used, most often collectively, sustainability becomes that mean, not an end by itself. This is the first design studio I did, fall 2012. The site is in northwest Portland, currently an active part of the city, but with a lot of potential. When I started the design process, I had been in Portland and the States for 20 days, and I saw the spirit of Portland as a city who cares about food, organic agriculture, and community public spaces. So I started my proposal focusing on a residential building with a community greenhouse and culinary art school. Another lesson from my education at University of Oregon is to be creative, responsible, unique, and realistic. Architecture is not a mathematical equation, or else it will be too easy and too dispensable. Architecture is an experience and a communication. The last project I'm showing today is a collaborative studio work that happened during last winter term. We designed urban installations for both sites in Barcelona 22 Ad District and the North Park blocks between the Pearl District and Chinatown in Portland. Initially thought as a soup kitchen that should fit in a cube of 10 by 10 by 10 feet, this is an early design purpose I wrote. The purpose was to allow food to weave dignifying experiences between those in need and those who can help. And here we're discussing the homeless problem in Portland. And to do that, I took a day off and went and asked for food. And I didn't look homeless, but I didn't look like a student, and I was denied food. And although I knew this was just enacting for a few minutes, it hurt a lot. And this is how I start putting myself instead of the client, which is in this case, some of the homeless people in Portland. This is another diagram showing that services can reintegrate part of a marginalized society in Portland, even if slowly, but surely and steadily. This is talking about the city and the food and how I saw Portland and how I was very optimistic about the relationship that could start once a small step is being taken towards solving the homeless problem. Then we started teaming up in small groups. One of the questions we asked was, what is Portland? And Portland was a bunch of things. Then we also asked, what is Barcelona? And Barcelona, 5,000 miles away from Portland, was also a bunch of things. So we find common ground in public transportation, the love for nature, homeless all over the city, biking, industry. And this was one of the diagrams we did in my team. Although we agreed on the purpose of the design, many proposals were made. This is my team proposal. It included me and another student, Charlie Danner. The final stage was agreeing on choosing one of the team designs and over a period of 4 weeks, redesign it and collectively build it. Adaptable interaction is a customizable space that caters to the changing needs of a soup kitchen. It will serve any person or group in a need of a space to eat or to relax. The structure will promote inclusion through tactile cues that invite users to interact with the space and each other. By pushing and pulling these arms we designed, one can create a place to sit, eat, or lean. The structure will have many different settings. Dictated by users, the structure will be always changing, taking on a new identity with each neighborhood, district, or city. Context is a strong factor in an architectural expression. From a big living room in a Lebanese house that tells the guest that they are welcome anytime, to a more compact urban unit in America describing a love for privacy, architecture is all about people. And just like people and language, architecture is communicative, playful, and beautiful. Let's make sure to keep it that way. Thank you.